Good morning, everyone. Thank you to EX for accepting our presentation. I have no conflicts of interest. Basically, going back to weaning methods, yes, there is a lot of discrepancy on weaning, and each center follows a different weaning method. The flow reduction methods, the AV bridging methods, and the pump control retrograde trial-off method. The ECMO setup that we have is basically a Mackey console, 1/4 inch circuits for less than 20 kilos, 3/8 inch circuits for more than 20 kilos. We have a dry pump ready at all times, left for 3 weeks, transonic flow probes, and the Quadrox ID oxygenator. Flow reduction method basically means just reducing the flows to 100 to 200 mils per minute, looking at the parameters, decannulating if things are going okay, or going back on flows. AV bridging means insertion of a tubing between the AV inlet and outlet limbs. Basically, there are multiple stopcocks in this. It's clamped off towards the patient. Heparin is infused continuously to the patient at 3 ml per hour with 100,000 units heparin and 500 ml saline. And the pump keeps flowing. So the ECMO is off. The pump is still intact with flow going via the bridge. We can also intermittently clamp and unclamp or continuously flush to prevent thrombosis. Now, coming to pump control retrograde trial-off, it is not a very old thing, started recently in 2013 from Leicester, which by Westrop et al. And we saw our initial set of patients with just this study. There's another study by Ling et al. That has come out in cardiogenic shock in the adult group. So there's quite a bit of paucity on this weaning method, and we thought we'd go about and see how it compares with the AV bridging. The pump speed is basically reduced. Patient's blood pressure overcomes the impedance of the circuit, and this helps to reverse the shunt in the circuit. So it's basically a left to right circuit, creates a controlled left to right shunt, and the patient's hemodynamic parameters at regular intervals are seen, and decannulation is satisfactory. I'll not go back to this, but coming to the PCRTO weaning methods, we bring down the flows to 50 to 60 ml per kg per minute. The speed of the centrifugal pump is reduced further, and once the ECMO flows reach zero, we go down further. You will see here the spectrum monitor on the right, and that shows a pump flow and patient flow at minus 0.12, that's 120 ml per minute. That's the left to right shunt, or the external shunt that's going through the circuit against the pump. So basically, the inlet and outlets are reversed. You see blood flowing in the reverse direction, and the equalization of colors in both the limbs. Gas exchange is stopped once retrograde flow is established. We clamp the shunt lines. We aim for a minimum of 100 mils per minute of retrograde flow. And during this trial of hemodynamic stability and respiratory gases are assessed, arterial blood gases, transthoracic echoes are evaluated. If there's instability, we just rev up, go back on full flows, and further attempts are tried later. The objective of our study was to compare this technique of pump control retrograde trial-off to insertion of an AV bridge to conduct a trial-off from veno-arterial ECMO. All patients that were weaned from November 14 to 18 were included. It was approved by the HREC committee. Those in which ECMO was withdrawn by other methods were excluded, and this was mainly introduced in our unit in 2016. 51 patients were included in the study, 31 were the pump control retrograde trial-off or the PCRTO, and 20 were the AV bridging. We had 52 runs in 51 patients. Outcome variables mainly included hospital mortality, duration of ECMO run, duration of trial period, other independent variables like age, weight, and indications. We used the STATA version 14 for our analysis. So we group them as group 1, group 2, the PCRTO, and the AV bridge respectively. 31 patients had 39 trials of by the PCRTO method, and 20 patients had 22 trials of by the AV bridging. which meant we were just trialing off more patients with the PCRTO and had less threshold to trial off with this method. Primary indications were cardiac in 52% and 55% in the two groups respectively, and non-cardiac in 48 and 45%. So this was the various study indications, including cardiac, which included RV to PA conduits, Norwood, univentricular, biventricular repairs, TAPVD, truncus with TAPVD, and a host of various non-cardiac indications. There's not much difference in respect to the cardiac and non-cardiac indications. The demographics were more or less the same with respect to the median age, which was the p-value was 0.634. The median age was from 0 to 16.8 years in the PCRTO group, and 2 to 15.8 years in the AV bridging group. The median weights differed a little. We had in the first group weights from 3.3 to 68 kilos. And in the second one, it was 2.5 to 68 and 2.2 to 50.8 kilos. Now, the median ECMO duration was more or less similar, with 5 in the PCRTO group and AV bridging 6 days with a P of 0.538. But if you see the median wean times, there we had 88 minutes in the PCRTO compared to 196.6 minutes in the AV bridging group, which was significantly shorter in our group of the PCRTO. So 2 patients, one was a 2.2 kilo and the other was a 2.9 kilo Norwood, who did not sustain the cardiac output, didn't sustain this left-right shunt and had to be trialed off by the AV bridging. Survival, again, was not significantly different. There were no thromboembolic complications, and we didn't have to change the circuit. Study limitations: it was a retrospective, non-randomized trial study. Sample size was small, and thromboembolic episodes were not exhaustively assessed. In conclusion, I'd like to say that PCRTO is safe, simple, reproducible, doesn't need much manipulation of the circuit, provides a stress test to test the cardiorespiratory reserve. It's applicable in a wide variety of cardiac and non-cardiac indications and facilitates multiple attempts at weaning. Outcome data suggests equipoise with AV bridging with potential shorter weaning times. Thank you.